morning, good afternoon, good evening. This WhatsApp message has been circulating in the social media, and the euphoria has been palpable. Many people are excited about the prospects of the confrontation between the ZANU-PF factions. Blessed Geza, since 2 weeks ago, when he came out and denounced Mnangagwa and said he must go, he is corrupt and so forth, he has captured the nation's attention. And this WhatsApp message that has been circulating has at the bottom of it the quotation, "Fasten your seatbelts, we are about to take off. Be part of the people making history, or else you'll be pushed aside and watch others making history for you." When you read that, that's when you begin to realize we are in trouble. 45 years after independence, we are excited that we may finally get the chance to have a meaningful say in the governance of the country and a share of its wealth. To me, that only shows that for the last 45 years, we've failed to sort out the fundamental problem of how to govern ourselves. This is tragic. Benjamin, welcome to the program.
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Indeed, Zimbabwe is making history, but not in the good kind. This just goes to show we have failed a democracy. Look, the only time we had change of power, it came about through a military coup. And again, for us to have another change of power, we are looking at another military coup. This just says who we are. Zimbabwe has, and before SADC actually even said this, that we are failing to hold free, fair, and credible elections. All observer missions said the same thing. And this action that is happening now, the tension, the squabbles, and leading towards this coup that we everybody is hyped up, is evidence that we are a failed state. We are a pariah state. But the unfortunate thing is, as Zimbabweans, we are failing to understand that we are just replacing one dictator for another. There is no free, fair, and credible elections in any of this process. And once a process is dirty, the outcome will be dirty. So it's just a matter to say why taking off, going where?
Well, we have got very short memories. In 1980, the people, there was euphoria. People were excited that the country gained its independence. And they expected great things. But as we know, from the word go, the country had taken the wrong turn. The 1980 elections were not free, fair, and credible. ZANU PF, although they agreed at the Lancaster House talks that they would withdraw their operatives from the field to allow everyone to campaign freely. When ZANU PF came back to Zimbabwe, it kept a number of its operatives in the field. They were not sent to assembly points. And their message to the people was that ZANU PF, the war of liberation, the Bush war, would continue if ZANU PF does not win the elections. The people voted to end the Bush war. And in doing so, they gave up their right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country. And they've never recovered from that. Fast forward to 2017, when we had the military coup, people were convinced this was it. Somebody has since been posting the picture on the screen there, 17th of November 2017, and they christened it Zungu Day. In other words, the people were foolish because the people firmly believed that their day of independence had finally arrived, and they welcomed those who had staged a military coup. But as we know, that coup only replaced Mugabe with Mnangagwa. Nothing changed. And yet, here we are, 8 years since the military coup. We are going through the same process. And we once again are gripped by those who think that is an achievement. And they are besides themselves, agog with excitement. You despair. You honestly despair. Are we going to forever go through this? We cannot get over the line of what kind of political system are we going to have? Because I totally agree with you. The man they are presenting as the champion of this blessed Geza and company is Chwenga. And we know who Chwenga is. I mean, this is what I find so really disappointing. We already know who Chwenga is. He has been a ZANU PF operative. His first promotion in the army has been on the same basis as everybody else in ZANU PF, on the basis of his allegiance to the one-party state. He has played his part in creating the one-party state. So why is it that we don't seem to learn? That is what I find really disappointing about this thing. Benjamin.
I think our desperation has clogged our brains, or we have just selected ourselves to be extra foolish. Because, the evidence is clear in each and every speech or conference, that Geza has sat down and spoke. He has made it clear that this is not about democracy. He said, we are tired of nationalists. We, as war veterans, want to run the show. So there is no meaningful election once that is a declaration that, we are doing this for ourselves as an organization, as war veterans, right? And then he still goes on another show and he says, they must dissolve cabinet, they must dissolve the Politburo so that we go in, so that we go in and eat as well. That's exactly what he said. There is no democracy in there. So now my question would be to everybody that is hyped up. Clearly, this does not involve you, and it has got nothing to do with you. Then why are you so, overwhelmed with joy and excitement when clearly this process you don't have a say in it? You are being, you know, given something that has already been predetermined already. And then the worst part is to call him a hero. How then does he become your hero when he has just taken away your He is not of the people. I'll give you an example. When he was Minister of Health, when nurses wanted to go on strike because they wanted an increment, he fired the whole lot. Celebrate about that. And now he gives him the full reins so that he exercises this power. This naive and foolish to actually think there is anything meaningful that is going to come out of this process, except the fact that we are just removing one detector for another.
Well, I would like to remind the Zimbabweans out there that as much as some people have said that the military is part and parcel of the Zimbabwe politics, body politics, the truth of the matter is the ZANU-PF brought in the military, the police, the CIO, the prison services, the war veterans to prop up the regime. And once those individuals had been co-opted, they started doing ZANU-PF's dirty business. The idea that somehow, as Geza has argued in some of his videos, that the ZANU-PF governments up to now have been of the nationalists and not war veterans is nonsense. ZANU-PF nationalists are part and parcel of the ZANU-PF dictatorship, just as much as the war veterans, the police, the army are part and parcel of the ZANU-PF dictatorship. Here is a video of one of the army generals making it abundantly clear of his allegiance to ZANU-PF, and that takes precedence over his allegiance to the nation of Zimbabwe. And I'd like you to pay special attention. In the video, you will see Constantino Chiwenga, proof that he too subscribed to the notion that ZANU-PF is the only party fit to rule. And he played his part in creating the dictatorship, sustaining it, and has enjoyed his fair share of the spoils of power.
We wish to make it very clear to all Zimbabwean citizens that the security organization will only stand in support of those political leaders that will pursue Zimbabwe's value, traditions, belief, for which thousands of lives were lost in pursuit of Zimbabwe's hard-won independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the national interest. To this end, let it be known that the highest office on the land is a straitjacket, whose occupant is expected to observe the objectives of the liberation struggle. We will therefore not accept, let alone support or salute anyone with a different agenda that threatens the very existence of our sovereignty, our country, and our people. By the two crucial values, the first and most important, any report and action designed to create instability in Zimbabwe will be made by full force of law. All should be accountable for their actions. Security organizations have resolved.
The truth of the matter is, we, the people of Zimbabwe, have really learned nothing from the past. And this is why we are doomed to repeat the same mistake over and over again. There is nothing special here. We are just repeating the same foolish mistake of believing that those with the gun are right. We have failed to come up with a system that allows good governance. And why anyone should be excited about our failed political system beggars belief. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
In closing, I would want to say, politicians are very clever and they will dwell on the things that people are experiencing. And in Zimbabwe, we are experiencing high levels of corruption, hunger, and they will use this to their advantage to hype us up, just like what is going on now. Because Comrade Geza spoke about corruption, and we know that there are a lot of corrupt elements in Zimbabwe right now. And we talked about, hunger. There is hunger in Zimbabwe right now to stir us up. But, in Shona, they say, chii chaita kuti musoro uteme. What is the root cause of all these symptoms that our country is facing? It's, we have failed good governance. We have failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. And without free, fair, and credible elections, you cannot hold those in public office accountable. This is the problem. We need to find democracy. We need to get back our say in what and who governs Zimbabwe. That is the only solution. This to say we are booting out Mnangagwa for Chiwenga for whoever and whoever, that is a sign and a true sign, and it puts away all doubt that Zimbabwe indeed is a failed state. Thank you.
I would like to remind everyone that Mugabe was imposed on the nation by the same war veterans who ended up removing him in 2017. And they claimed that they had the right solution, the answer, and they ended up imposing Mnangagwa. And the same individuals are the ones who are coming back today and saying Mnangagwa has failed and we have got the solution, and they will impose another dictator. This is at the root of our problem. The war veterans, and when I say war veterans, I'm not talking only of those who have retired or have been demobilized. I'm talking of those who are in government, in the army, the police, etc., have imposed the ZANU-PF dictatorship on the nation. They are the problem, and they cannot be the solution too. And those Zimbabweans who are euphoric about what is happening, they failed to learn from the past. They failed to ask themselves, why did we get here in the first place? Those who do not learn from the past are doomed to repeat the same mistake over and over again. I do not believe what we are seeing now is a solution to the country's 45 years of rigged elections and bad governance. It's just a continuation of it. And why anyone should be excited, beggars belief. This is one of the reasons why we are in this mess. We have got a naive, ignorant, and gullible electorate who never learn from the past. And it is not surprising that both ZANU-PF and the MDC-CCC opposition have taken advantage of the ignorant, naive, and gullible electorate and conned them to do all manner of things, making them believe that this is the solution, when in reality it's just continuing the same failed system. Food for thought. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Have a good day.